We're here at the NCUA's listening session just outside of Washington, D.C., speaking with attendees about the agency's risk-based capital proposal. Have the concerns that you've been hearing from credit unions been addressed at the listening session today?
You know, I think to a certain degree they have been. I mean, they're talking about making substantial changes, material changes to the proposed reg. I think that's good news to credit unions. I don't think all of the changes are going to be well received by all of the credit unions. I didn't hear a lot about changing the risk on concentration risk, so I think a lot of credit unions are very concerned about that as far as their investment portfolio or their lending portfolio, or member business lending portfolio, things of that nature. There didn't seem to be a lot of indication that there was a lot of changes coming in that way. But the implementation, how long we're going to have to come in compliance with the regulation. Chairman Matz indicated that the most important thing they're looking for is a movement towards. So day one, that she doesn't expect all credit unions to be under compliance. But is there a plan? Is there a procedure? Is there a policy that moving them in that right direction? And if it is, the agency will be accepting of that and give the credit unions adequate time, because you're talking about changing business models and all, educating board members, things of that nature. So it's pretty involved.
Which risk weight do you think is the most important one that the agency should lower? That has you the most?
It should lower? I would say around the QSO idea, because we want to be cooperative, we want to be helping each other out, we want to be looking for new and innovative ways to give back value to our membership. And in that case, you don't want to discourage investment in QSOs in that. And essentially, most QSOs are individual credit unions or leagues getting together. You don't want to discourage that. I think that's vitally important.
First, I wanted to find out if the concerns that you had coming into this listening session, your top concerns, were addressed by the regulators today.
The concerns are still there. The regulators gave us their perspective of it, but they didn't give us enough concrete information to move forward and make plans. So we're still waiting.
The risk weights was a hot topic today at the listening session. The agency said they're going to lower some or many of them. What's the top one that you think needs to be lowered?
Probably the top one that needs to be lowered is the risk weights they're placing on federally backed investments. The risk weight is ridiculous when it's a federally backed instrument. There is no risk involved other than the full faith of the government. So obviously NCUA doesn't have enough faith in the government to back the securities that we're using.
I think I wasn't really surprised that while we talked about potential changes, I think NCUA is still really trying to get their arms around what they can address, what they legally and regulatorily can address, and I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to determine that. I like the idea that they're using the FDIC as a model, but they really need to continue to remember how credit unions are so significantly different than the for-profits and take that into consideration when they set these ratios.
Do you think the agency should be in meetings with members of Congress talking about supplemental capital in the context of the risk-based capital discussion?
Well, I think supplemental capital is an issue whose time has come. I think it's been a good issue for years, but now that we've got the risk-based rule out there, that's injected a new degree of urgency to it. I think that in the next Congress, I hope that we can make this a priority. I do think it's going to help credit unions do a better job. It'll give them more flexibility. It'll enhance their ability to serve. The problem with that rule, or that bill rather, is not anything that NCUA is doing or not doing. It's the fact that the banks are opposed to almost everything we try to do.
In Alexandria, Virginia, I'm Nicholas Palissy, Credit Union Times.